William John Liam Neeson's life is reduced to the arc of an unlikely action star. But the deeper story is one of place, loss, and persistence. Born in Ballymena, Northern Ireland, in 1952, he grew up amid quiet social divisions that shaped identity before he stepped in front of a camera. From a working-class Catholic household to the stages of Belfast and eventually global cinema, his path was never linear. It was marked by discipline, uncertainty, and emotional depth that would later define his performances. This is not a career biography, but a study of endurance through times and personal tragedy. Childhood in Ballymena. Liam Neeson was born into a working-class Catholic family in Ballymena, a town in Northern Ireland where identity was shaped by religion, geography, and quiet social boundaries. His father worked as a school caretaker, and his mother as a cook, both instilling a sense of discipline and dignity in everyday labour. Life was modest, structured, and rooted in routine than aspiration. Though not marked by overt conflict in his earliest years, the environment carried undercurrents of division that children quickly learned to recognise. In this setting, Neeson developed resilience, physical presence, and an early understanding that survival often meant restraint and awareness. Growing up amid division. He came of age in Northern Ireland as political tensions between communities gradually intensified. While large-scale violence of the Troubles had not yet fully erupted in his earliest childhood, the atmosphere of division was already present in everyday life. Certain streets, loyalties, and social expectations reflected a society quietly split along religious lines. For a Catholic boy in a Protestant-majority town, awareness of boundaries was learned early and instinctively. In such conditions, caution and awareness became part of daily behaviour itself ingrained. Boxing and discipline. As a tall and physically imposing teenager, Neeson found structure in boxing. He joined the Emerald Amateur Boxing Club in Ballymena, where discipline and repetition became central to his routine. The sport taught him control, patience, and how to channel aggression into focus rather than chaos. His boxing experience also gave him confidence and a physical presence that would later translate to screen roles. Though he did not pursue a professional boxing career, the discipline remained a foundation throughout his life. This early training would later inform his approach to acting, particularly his physical control and stillness in performance work. The first stage. He was introduced to acting during his school years when a teacher encouraged participation in drama activities. At St. Patrick's Boys' School, he initially approached performance without expectation or ambition. However, the experience of stepping onto a stage revealed a different kind of confidence and expression. He discovered that acting allowed him to transform inward feeling into outward presence. This early exposure did not immediately lead to a career decision, but it planted a lasting creative seed. In later years, he would return to this experience as the foundation of his artistic identity and discipline over time in retrospect. Eventually, work before the stage. Before fully committing to acting, Neeson worked a series of practical jobs that grounded him in everyday life. He spent time as a forklift operator at the Guinness Brewery in Belfast, a job that required focus and physical precision. The work environment was steady and disciplined, reflecting the kind of routine he had grown up around. He also briefly trained as a primary school teacher, studying in Belfast before leaving the programme after 2 years. These experiences reinforced his understanding of responsibility structure and the value of steady employment. Yet his interest in performance continued quietly throughout these years developing. The Lyric Theatre years. At the Lyric Theatre in Belfast, Neeson began to understand acting as a professional craft rather than a hobby. The company provided him with structure mentorship and exposure to disciplined stage work. Working in a city affected by political unrest meant rehearsals often continued despite external uncertainty. This environment demanded focus and resilience qualities that would define his later career. He developed a quiet performance style rooted in stillness, observation, and emotional control. These formative years in Belfast gave him the foundation for a career built on authenticity, patience, and an ability to convey depth without excess expression itself. Naturally. Entering film, Neeson transitioned from stage work in Belfast to film roles in the late 1970s and early 1980s. His early screen appearances were modest, often supporting roles that gradually expanded his visibility. He worked across British and Irish cinema building experience rather than immediate fame. Directors noticed his physical presence and ability to bring seriousness to even small parts. Over time, he developed a reputation for intensity control and emotional credibility. This gradual progression allowed him to refine his craft without the pressure of instant stardom, giving him space to develop a screen presence that felt grounded, controlled, and deeply human. Rise, loss, and resilience. International recognition came after major film roles in the 1990s, established Neeson as a leading dramatic actor. Films such as Schindler's List elevated his profile and demonstrated his ability to carry emotionally complex narratives. He moved between historical dramas, thrillers, and character-driven stories with increasing confidence. Later in his career, action films introduced him to a wider global audience. The success of the Taken franchise redefined his public image as an action star. Despite this shift into action cinema, he maintained grounding in character work, ensuring emotional weight over time naturally. Grief and resilience. In 2009, Neeson's life was profoundly altered by the sudden death of his wife, Natasha Richardson, following a skiing accident. The loss was deeply personal and reshaped his understanding of grief, family, and permanence. He withdrew from public attention for a period, focusing on raising his two sons and processing the tragedy privately. Over time, he returned to acting with a more reflective and measured approach. The experience became a defining part of his life, informing both his work and his perspective on loss. Public life never erased the private grief he continues to carry quietly with dignity, always present. Legacy of endurance. Beyond cinema, his life reflects the quiet strength of someone shaped by division loss who chose to respond with discipline. Work-sustained creative commitment over decades continues. Liam Neeson's story extends beyond fame or genre, rooted instead in persistence through changing circumstances. From a small town in Northern Ireland to international cinema, his journey reflects both opportunity and struggle. He has moved through stages of life marked by discipline, artistic growth, and personal loss. His performances continue to carry restraint and emotional truth. His legacy is defined not only by roles, but by the endurance behind them.